Well, hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is Laurencia Paulina and I am majoring International Relations in Bussiness University. The purpose of this video making is to complete my English assignment for my final exam and to tell you guys about education. I raised this topic to deserving up to my video is because I think education is the most important thing to have in life. I think everyone should have basic education to survive and continue to life. Because not just with wealth or health, we can survive and continue to life. In addition to surviving and continuing life, education, in my opinion, is used to create the character of every human being. The good or bad behavior of every human being can be judged by the lack of education. The education I will discuss is more focused in Indonesia. In my opinion, education in Indonesia hasn't spread evenly distributed, evidenced by the still many people who live in rural areas that have access to education. As we can see and read from the mass media and electronic reviews, the villagers are less attainable by the government in education. This should make us as capable people to think that is a very important thing and can't be wasted away. Education, according to Rousseau, aims to foster good nature and minimize bad traits. In addition, according to these Greek philosophers, education is not a technique to ensure students absorb information, but also to ensure the character of pupils can thrive, respect personality and morality. According to Emil Durkheim, when discussing education is neither science nor art, he mentions that education exists between both science and art. Emil also mentions that it is important to understand education doesn't come from a revealed religion, but exclusive thoughts, sentiments, and practices are only responsible for the reason. In short, pure rationalistic education. Another problem that arises in this area of education is the learning style. Disclosed by Freire, one of the learning styles used in this work only gives space for students to receive, record, and store what is given by the teacher. This, he said, reduces the ability of creativity and the power of the student itself. This learning style is called bank style. Again, unfortunately, this bank style is also applied by some unscrupulous in schools in Indonesia, whereas the Indonesian government has implemented a new curriculum in the scope of education in Indonesia. A new curriculum issued in 2013 by Indonesia's Minister of Education and Culture, Muhammad Nuh, aims to make students more active in teaching and learning activities. Because of this curriculum, students are required to seek their own information utilizing the already developed technology. Based on my experience in weaving higher education, my school has also implemented the 2013 curriculum, but there are still some teachers who still enforce this bank style. He always gives notes and asks the student to record and memorize. Students are not given the opportunity to provide suggestions or input to the material given. This is one of the problems of education in Indonesia that hampers Indonesia to be more developed and developed. Another educational issue that is often discussed in Indonesia is the large population who don't go to school because they are poor. Again, this is also the case for education. Why? The number of poor people in Indonesia is one of them because they lack education. As a result, people who are not in school don't have any skills to use as capital in making money. So with that, the government again issued another program, which is compulsory education 12 years. This program is issued by the government with the aim that no more people drop out of school and grow without skills that will cause other problems for our country, such as poverty and high unemployment. This life cycle will continue if the community doesn't utilize the government issues program for the unprivileged in education. The government deliberately provides many educational programs for the underprivileged and all citizens. But many people are still unconscious and understand how much the education is for life. The increase in dropout rates is caused by many things, ranging from facilities and infrastructure that are available until the high cost of high school. Although the government has implemented free public schools for students, not a few schools in areas where students are still paying for the dues. These contributions are used to pay the basic salaries for the non-government teachers. In my opinion, the education systems in Indonesia is also less effective. Why? Starting from the application of curriculum up to the implementation of national examination, the education system in Indonesia requires high school students to choose the preferred subjects between natural and social science. However, as a result of the 2013 curriculum, high school students are required to select one subject from another learning group to learn. And in my opinion again, that is not at all like learning the two classes of lessons. The other is the implementation of the national exam. In recent years, the implementation of the national exams is enough to make students become more confused and lost the direction of learning. The execution of standardized school exam, for example, although according to the official website of the Ministry of Education and Cultural, implementation to improve the quality of teachers due to the deliberation of subject teachers and teacher working groups. Still, this makes the students confused because of the sudden change of rules and suddenly. The government should be more solid in preparing and organizing education, considering education is one of the human rights that must be protected by the statute. Not just the above issues, the number of cases of violence occurring in the school environment between students and between teachers and students add to the long list of educational problems in Indonesia. The violence that occurs within the school environment can cause problems for the physical and physiological health of the victim. Not a few of these cases ended after being taken by legal means. Problems like this should be addressed and resolved firmly because they are not repeated. I had time to think that this problem continues to occur because of the lack of strict law enforcement in handling cases like this. What has happened is sexual harassment and physical violence to the victim. Why does this happen? These things can happen because of misunderstanding and lack of communication between the perpetrator and the victim. Behind of all problems I mentioned earlier, education is not just between school and government, but also family. Why can family be another factor of education? Because after all, the family is the first place for someone to get to know the world and get education. So can also the problems above can occur due to the lack of love and attention from family. The family should be a good prefix for the individual. The family must also be a good role model, especially the head of the family. Goodness and good education of the family will automatically become an individual identity in life in the community. The planting of characters from the family is very important. Why? Because this is what the individual will take out to the environment. The planting of characters from the family is very important because this is what the individual will take out to the environment. Apart from the many problems of education in Indonesia Education in Indonesia also has a lot of good achievements in the Asian region and around the world, not only in the academic field but also in the non-academic field. I have read and got some event which is followed by Indonesian students from an educational website of Kompas. Indonesian students began to enter the heyday in the 90s, starting from the International Physics Olympic, which won as many as 100 gold medals, silver, and bronze. It was the first time for Indonesia sign up for the event. In addition to the academic field, Indonesia also succeeded in achieving the arts and sports, like a contest followed by Enggar Putri Tanjung in Tokyo in 2014, the International Foundation for Arts and Culture. The other achievement was achieved by karate team of high school students in Indonesia, who won 1 gold and 2 silver in Copenhagen in Denmark in 2009 at the international sports stage. Of all the problems and words that I mentioned earlier, we should be more aware of how important education for ourselves. We must know as important as what education for us, then we can share and spread the importance of education to others. Education is not a problem that can be considered normal, because many aspects of life need education as a basis. It is also one of the reasons why the government is aggressively fighting ignorance in this country and the reason why families provide the best education from an early age. It is none other than to make us become more aware for ourselves, neighbor, and also nation and state. And so that is all for my video. I hope you guys enjoy as I made this video, and I hope you guys know what makes education in Indonesia should be given more attention by us. I'm Laurencia sign up. Thank you.